Hey there, it's Sunday morning and I just released the video on making my new speakers, something I've been working on for quite a while. If you notice, I haven't been around making videos here or on my main channel. That's what I've been up to. Okay, I should mention that I didn't stop making videos. I just put them on my audio channel. I think I made something like 6 or 7 new videos in the meantime to put on there. Some of that was covering the build as it was progressing, and doing that kind of slowed me down. But it on one hand, it slowed me down, and on the other hand, it kind of made a little bit, I don't know, took some of the pressure off. When I originally started making that project, the idea was to slow down and take my time doing them. And so once I started, I realized how long they were going to take to build. And yeah, they took a long time to build. A lot of work in those. So that kind of made me half panicked because I figured, well, okay, I was like 2 weeks in and I only had really the first one done. And I hadn't even really started on the second one mostly. And I still hadn't had enough, like I didn't have enough material either to build it. I had to go buy more maple cherry. So yeah, lots of stress involved in that. And then I think I've talked about this before, but whenever I build a big project, and I mean, for people that don't build things, especially bigger things, they won't get this, but whenever I build a big project, you get towards the end and I don't know, you kind of slow down because you're afraid that in this case, I knew I knew the speakers would be good. That wasn't the issue. It was the other side of it, the video that I put up this morning, how that was going to be received, the amount of work that went into building the speakers, which I wanted and I enjoy building. So that kind of offsets that anyway. But then, you know, getting the right image for the thumbnail, that was the big thing there. And that's the thing I was putting off, because ideally I want to get them set up in a place with better lighting than my listening room, which doesn't have good lighting. I didn't want to go to that trouble though. I've already brought them down to my listening room, set up and using them, you know, all the while. And yeah, so the big hold up there at the end was getting just that thumbnail image that I finally settled on. I'm not completely happy with it. I took like, I don't know, 30 or 40 pictures, different angles, trying to get something that kind of clicked, looked good, because it's so critical, that and the title, to the success of your video, especially for older channels where a lot of the viewers that are just sitting there are still subscribed, don't watch you anymore. Either they're bored with you or they moved on or something like that. And that's not me complaining. That's me being realistic about, you know, what I'm doing here. You know, this is a business for me, even though I do some of the things that I do, like those speakers, were completely for me. You know, I enjoyed building it. I wanted them. So yeah, I have to look at that in that way, how it's going to perform. So I was supposed to get it done, the project done for last weekend. I put off that aspect of it. Like the speakers are completely done last week and set up, roughly. But I didn't have the picture taken for the thumbnail. Anyway, so yeah, a big project. I started last year when I started experimenting with the idea of open baffle. And if you're on my audio channel, you'll recognize this thing here very roughly. And this is like the 3rd iteration. And then I made a mock-up that more closely matches the final design. And I lived with these for months on end, listening to them, getting used to how they sound, picking out problems and, you know, kind of refining how it had to be. So yeah, a lot of history here with this. You know, I didn't just wake up one morning and say, look, I'm going to build these and, you know, just start and do it. I did a lot of planning, a lot of experimentation, a lot of, you know, experience with the speakers in that arrangement. All right, because that's quite a bit different than ordinary box speakers, the way these things sound. All right, so enough of that. What else have I got coming up? Well, I've got the building in of my shop vac in the corner over here. I'm making a duct that runs across to pick up these tools, and also an inlet to vacuum clean up around the CNC. Since the CNC is mounted vertical, all the dust falls down on the table, and it's not, dust collection is not really a problem. If I'm running it that creates a lot of dust, I'll turn on the air cleaner, and that really helps. But otherwise, the dust piles up there, and I just vacuum it up after it's done, or while it's happening. You could occasionally want to clean up anyway. So yeah, so there's that. I need to get a dryer vent though to put through the wall over there. One of the ways to reduce the noise from these types of dust collectors, shop vac, is to vent them outdoors. And it also gets rid of the air cleaner, the thing. I'll get it, hang on. This thing, I won't need this anymore, even though I think this is like, I don't know, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, could be longer. And it's just a very light coating of dust on there. It's not clogged at all. So a very effective cyclone, this is. And massive capacity. So yeah, but I'll just put a screen over it so that nothing big can get sucked into the impeller, and just leave this out, because it's going to be vented outdoors. And I mean, if this much dust collects in the span of 6 or 8 months, you're not talking about a lot there. And then the thing doesn't run, often, so that it would be a problem, say in the winter where you're heating up the shop. And it's not blowing all your heat out, because I'm using it to, for these 3 tools right here, the bandsaw, you run that for maybe 10, 15 minutes at most at a stretch. And I'm out here in the shop maybe twice a week. So you can see how much this thing will be running. And the belt sander, basically the same amount of time as the bandsaw, and the spindle sander even less time. And if I film any of the building in of that vacuum, it won't be a main channel video. It'll just be a kind of a update thing on here. I'll just film the highlights and show the results. I plan on measuring. I'm going to put the vacuum in the corner and measure how much sound it's putting out, and then a before and after I do the enclosure for it to see how much quieter it is, because a lot of guys are concerned about sound. Although in the case of this, it would be they're concerned because they'll be bothering someone else. But in this case, like I said, having it vented through the wall, that will carry some of that sound out, right? So probably be a lot noisier outdoors. So maybe I should measure out there as well. Yeah, measure before with it running in here without it vented through the wall, and after with it vented through the wall, to see how much, my neighbors will be hearing. Although they'll probably be okay with it. It's just a vacuum, and I'm not out here at 2 a.m. or I'm never out here that early in the morning either. So not a big deal. And the next big project is the bed that goes with the night tables that I built. That was another big project that didn't do extraordinarily well. But like I said, I made a couple of other smaller videos, smaller projects. While I was doing that, actually, that did pretty well, which is the irony, of course. You spend an afternoon doing some inconsequential thing, and it way outperforms the thing that you just spent a month on.
You know what you need at a crime scene?
Rubber gloves.
Soft eyes.
Like I'm supposed to cry and shit?
You got soft eyes, you can see the whole thing. You got hard eyes, you stand at the same tree, missing the forest.
Oh, Zen shit.
Soft eyes, grasshopper.